You know, like,
Let's see. So.
So was it?
That's right.
This is so interesting. First time.
It's our first new TV.
Yeah. Oh, really?
We just bought it.
It's the only
I wasn't
TV.
here last time.
And it was a
It's very large.
Well, you see, we got some older folks sitting on the council that need to be able to see.
you know what?
Somebody just said they had old eyes.
I have very old eyes. I am terrible. I'm like blind without
Well,
my
me too,
glasses.
because if I
and
take
not
these
much
off, I
better
can't,
with
I
them.
still can't read that. So.
I think it is a little bit.
Maybe
not.
It
Yes,
is
yeah, I still can.
It is. Yeah. It's blurry for me right now.
I couldn't. Not without my glasses. Mm-mm. Told you we showed her the baby.
Lord.
The whole wall.
No, because you know we bought.
I know.
Oh yeah,
You
I
told
was
me
like,
that story.
Jason made us buy a curved TV. So much better.
No.
It's not. Unless you're in the bedroom.
Absolutely
We just
not.
moved our curved TV from our living room to our bedroom because it's smaller than the one that we have.
Mine's going downstairs to the kids' gaming room.
There you go.
It could not be better.
All right, I got 6:30. We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call. Steve.
Yes.
Alex.
Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Ken.
Yep.
Approval of agenda in front of you. You have the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections that need to be made or anything that needs to be moved?
Let's take item 6C right after the citizens forum.
6C or 6D?
Well, 6D and then 6C after that.
Okay.
So we'll do 6D first and then 6C since they're related.
Motion made by Steve.
Second.
Second by Megan. Alex.
Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Ken.
Yep.
Steve.
Yes.
Citizens forum. Are there any citizens on the line that want to discuss anything that is not on the current agenda? Hearing none. Departmental reports.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
6D.
6D.
60.
Oh, you want it under. Okay. Discussion and action for ATI Group Development. We've got BJ and Casey here with ATI Group. They have a small presentation for us with what they want to do with the Oaks property. So you guys can take it away.
Sure. I can kind of. Do you have a camera that you want this to be shown on? Or?
You don't need to.
Or-
It's right behind you.
Yes,
Behind
sir.
you?
Yes. The little webcam on top of the file there, so they won't be able to see it.
Tough to see. You guys have this in your packet. Or maybe I'll send it to you guys. You want to start? Is that right here? Okay. Okay. Well, you guys know this area even better than we do. But what we are kind of proposing is, how do you want me to do this? Just kind of present the project and then we can talk about the rest of it a little bit later. Okay. So what we're proposing is we are planning to, so we have a contract to purchase it's about 12 acres on this area right here, just in the north of some of these existing houses. And what we're planning to do or proposing to do is just punch one road in to the end of this. This gets us about 19 lots, yeah.
19 single-family lots. And what we are, the lot sizes we're proposing are about 75 feet, and then at the smallest, they're 72 feet. But what we would do is kind of look at this thing, rather than try to purchase the entire property and develop the entire property, we would pull in just the first, it's about over 12 acres, I believe. And we would try to bring online about 19 single-family lots.
Yep, so what we're bringing on, of the whole 12, what we're bringing on is about 6 to 8 acres of that. And we can kind of talk about, so backing up just a little bit, the reason we're kind of taking this in a small chunk. So ATI Group, we're a real estate development company. We do residential real estate throughout central Iowa. So Ankeny, Waukee, West Des Moines, and Urbandale. Working on a project in Ames, and then Pella and Fort Dodge as well. We just finished a project in Pella. So we worked with a family that owns Pella Doors and Windows. And they
huge housing need, just like everywhere. You guys saw in the Ames Tribune, the 3,000 homes in Story County. So in Pella, I think it was like 600 homes were needed in 5 years. And they have Pella Corp and Vermeer and PPI, Central College, just a huge need, and there was just no housing whatsoever. And so the family actually went out and bought 160, 70 acres, and we developed the first 30 acres of that. And so it was 94 single family lots and a townhome parcel. We just finished that up at the end of last year. Actually, just kind of finished up right now, but majority of the work was done last year. And what we did there a little bit different, but so it took about 2 years to get the whole project through the county, the city, working with rural water, and just kind of working through the whole kind of gamut of everything. And the biggest thing was getting workforce housing, and so that's getting that home at 250,000. It's just such a hard thing to do right now, and really you cannot find a single family home in Ankeny or Waukee, West Des Moines for 250,000. It's a townhome or buy attached duplex, something like that. So what we did in Pella, because we needed to hit 250, we worked with the county and the city, and the kind of in the partnership of everything. They invested really $4.7 million into the infrastructure of this site. So a lot of stuff that went through that. But what that did brought our lot cost down to where we were able to sell lots at about an average of $43,000 per lot. And with that, a little bit different lots. Those were 50-foot lots, and so 40-foot buildable. So pretty much a max of a 2-car garage, 1,400 square foot home. Here, what we're trying to propose is maybe a little bit bigger of a lot. And here in Maxwell, probably a similar type home, but at least you have the flexibility of going to a 3rd-car garage. But try to keep that price point to 250. And so to do that, what we need to do is, and we've been working with Mayor Hudson on a structure of how can we get city, potentially county, to help make this project go. And initially, we were looking at the full 12-acre site, and the infrastructure cost there was obviously double what we have now. And so we try to pare back and find a way to make this project feasible. And so really I guess, do we want to go into the kind of structure and ask? Or
Sure.
Sure. So really what we're looking for to help buy down the infrastructure cost. So it would just be the infrastructure cost of these lots down. It would be an investment from the city for $600,000. And that would be essentially paid when the project construction is complete, the infrastructure is complete, and the city would then, so all of the public infrastructure would be dedicated to the city. So you're investing in something that would be a city road and utilities. And then what that allows us to do is to get that price point of a lot. So in Ankeny, or Waukee, West Des Moines, if they really anywhere in the metro, we're a 72, 75-foot lot is going for about $80,000. And really the only difference that we have between the metro area and here is the infrastructure cost is the same, no matter where you build it. It's no more expensive, no cheaper to do it in the metro versus here. Land cost is a little bit less, but in the grand scheme of overall costs, it's not a major significant portion of the number. So to do that, to buy these down, what we're asking for is $600,000 for the public infrastructure that would be dedicated back to the city. That'll get us down to where we can then get a home. We can work with builders to get a home of about, say, 250 to 280 would be the target and sale price of the home. Good. Everything else?
So, just to get you guys up to speed, we had a meeting with the bond council. So last week, 2 weeks ago. Everything else together so fast. Our bonding capacity, we can do that. We can do 600,000. The other discussion is going to be payback and what Tiana has to say, what the payment's going to be back. But the bond council said we can do that. They would rather have us do 300,000 and then rebate the other 300,000 back. But the problem's going to be that's going to take 11 years to get done, and I don't think that you guys have that time.
Yeah. So the biggest risk. So when we think about housing, so I'll put my developer hat on. As a developer, doing this project, taking on a risk. So if we can buy down infrastructure by 300,000, we still have a pretty substantial amount of risk. And for us, and what we're trying to do here is prove up that there is that market that we can go and build. And when we were talking about potentially projections, it was like We have 19 lots. Can we get, you know, 9 lots a year, 9 homes a year? Can we get 5 homes a year? For us, there's been no other recent subdivision for us to say, yeah, we're going to go invest money here. It's going to work. The payback's going to be here, because there's just nothing that says that it will. And for us in our investment group, there's a lot of opportunities out there, and not that this is a bad opportunity. It's just if we only had 300,000 up front, it does not mitigate the risk of doing a subdivision here. So for the full 600,000, what that does is it buys down the cost right away. And we talked about essentially using TIF money versus tax abatement, and how really for the end user, the tax or the TIF up front is what drives the most value for them. That's what gets that lot from 80,000 down to 50,000 or 45,000, whatever. So that really drives. And then what we're able to do is then pass on that cost that savings to the end consumer. So for us on the structure side, it would have to be the 600,000 investment up front when we're finished here. And if we were kind of walking through calculations, if we did 5 homes a year for the first, just 5 homes a year until we get all 19 lots built out, it would be about, I think, a 12 or 13 year payback for the city when the 600,000 would then be paid back.
And we do already have, one of our real estate agents already has a list of names that already wants to build on these lots. They want to, they're interested parties. Nothing's for sure yet. And the other hope for this was we invest 600,000 in this and hope to get for the rest of the 12 acres, the other six acres, to get the county involved so we can use their bonding capacity. What we're going to run into after this is our bonding capacity is, I believe, $1.5 million. So you take 600,000 out of that, or we're going to have another 600,000 for the other 6 acres, and then the dreaming bigger. What are we going to do with the 40 acres up top and possibly the other 40 acres that the Travis property has? So if we can get this done, propose the rest of everything to.
You ran out of storage.
Yes. And propose the rest of this to the county, that we can get some financial help there. Obviously, they did a housing assessment in Story County. You all know that. We did the survey, and there's a huge need. They're looking at, what was it,
3,000.
3,000. I don't remember what the time frame was. Yeah, 3,000
within the next 10 years or something like that. So there is a need. But I think, personally, I know I don't have it and can't push my opinion because I don't have a vote in this. Personally, I think this is our best option. We don't have any other developers coming to develop this land, but we have people knocking at our doors to build. So.
Since you don't have a vote, you're in the best position to push an opinion. Because that's all you have.
And if you guys remember correctly, I know that I'm beating a dead horse, but we would be marketing the hell out of these 19 lots. I think I told you guys the plan would be 1 month to move the market onto that street there. And then hopefully get some spec houses built. So for that month, we'd have a home show expo where people could go into the houses and either use that builder or buy the house. So.
You said the bond council preferred a 50-50 on the $600,000. And was that because she felt that would leave skin in the game for both of us? Or why?
It was
why 50-50?
Skin in the game for both of us, and the risk, like they said, the risk in them.
So let's talk about skin in the game. You own the land, and you have contract to buy the land. Here. You will own the land if this goes through. And the city is going to have $600,000 worth of debt for the public utilities, and the homes are being built by independent contractors, or are you guys building them all, or?
Yeah, so what we do, good question. So, yeah, so we will buy the land, and the 600,000 does not cover 100% of the infrastructure cost. So we're still on the hook for infrastructure costs. So it does not cover 100% of infrastructure. We also have soft costs, interest and management fees, all that kind of stuff. So we are not, what we're not proposing here is you guys pay for everything and we're gonna make all the money. So we have skin in the game from a financial component. So, and then from a builder standpoint, so actually the reason we found out about this deal, or the builder that kind of said, hey, you should take a look at this, is Sage Homes, who's I think they built this home and maybe a couple others through here. And so he has a couple different lines of homes. But so he was a builder that said, hey, you should check this out. I've got people who would want to build here potentially, and we just got to find a way to provide affordable lots. And I think these lots center here, I want to say I think this was under 50,000 for this one. I would say a big one. I can't remember exactly what was that, but
And then the one diagonal from that one was 47.5.
47.5, yeah. So that's kind of what we're, I don't say competing with a little bit. These are similar size lots, a little bit bigger maybe, but so all of our builders, so we don't build any homes. We work with builders. So we're the dirt guys that come in and get everything ready and work with builders. So we have relationships across the metro with builders. And I would say Sage, I think, is definitely really interested. And here, hopefully, we can get someone interested. I think you can, and spec homes, probably one or two specs. But if we have a laundry list of folks that are interested, we've got builders, so Sage, Oakstone, Happy, Greenwood, anyone you could think of. We've got relationships with that. We're gonna be pushing this one hard. And we've got skin in the game. We're not. We've got a lot at risk here. The city's got a huge investment in this thing, and we're all driven to make sure we get this thing built out. It does us no good to go get this thing built and sit on it.
So you guys work also with, I'm sure we probably got 2 or 3 local utilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
And right now we're building one house a year, but
Yeah.
here in town. But
Yeah.
so I know they're interested in
absolutely
this area too.
Yeah. And we probably, if they're local builders, would love to get their contact information. They're the prime builder to be in here. In Pella, we're working with local builders. We got a couple of local builders in there, and then we kind of have we call it track home builders as well, just to kind of get more homes in. But yeah, for sure. I mean, anyone we can sell a lot to is going to build a home, or we'll sell a lot.
You said 19, 19 lots. I count more dots than that, but where are the 19?
Yeah, so 19 here. So that's
both
the 19.
That street,
Yeah, so
east west.
yeah, so where we got the red outline, that would be our phase 1. And then if we can, so what Mayor Hudson was kind of alluding to was if we can prove it up here, then I think we have a strong case to go to the county and say, let's do the same deal here, keep it going north. I know there's potential development land on the kind of north and west of here as well. And that's where, Marion County, we work with Pella, we're working with them on the deal potentially in Knoxville. And we're working with different counties elsewhere. They're starting to see this is the solution, right? So I don't know how many reports counties have done, cities have done, where it's just like, well, we know we have a housing need, but what do you do about it? And luckily we have in Marion County, the board of supervisors did a great job in just trying to figure out how to make this thing work and kind of come up with a structure. So that's kind of it's kind of a, I want to say new structure, but it's one that I think is gaining traction.
Yeah.
Is it Wes? What's his phone number? I'll give him a call. Say something. What's his phone number? And I'll give him a call.
Okay, what's your number so we'll just give you a call for the meeting so that we have storage?
So having the county step in and help us with what we got to look at.
So really, it would be the same thing. So if Maxwell is the only one that comes to the table, right, and say Story County does not, it would just be Maxwell, City Maxwell using their bonding capacity, which I think is like 1.5. I don't know what Story County is. Marion County, which is a smaller county, has like $180 million bonding capacity, and so that's it. Just opens up I would say bigger pocketbooks, but there's it's just you got to work with the county, right? So there's other people at the table, and I think it can work. I think we've had maybe somewhat of initial conversations, and I would say we're taking this path forward.
There's no guarantee we'll be able to convince the county,
Hey, Wes, is the city council.
but if it moves 5 to 7 lots a year, that will certainly provide a proof of concept.
Yes, we will be getting back to you in a little bit.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that I'm available when you guys need me.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, so we can kind of provide these numbers to so you guys can see the spreadsheets. But I want to say if it was 5 homes a year, it's about a 12-13 year payback for the city, when we paid back in full. And then obviously you guys would have the in perpetuity the property tax for the site. And that's where it makes sense for the county to step in. So if we can have a proof of concept, then the county can step in and utilize their bonding capacity. And so I think we need to have that proof of concept before they'll probably buy in.
And even then it'll be an uphill slog, because their position is going to be, well, if we do it for you, then we're gonna have to do it for everyone else in the county. And our position is going to be, well, why shouldn't you be if it's a proven market?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there'll be a lot of discussion.
And like they said earlier, we have that 5%, 100% tax, or 5-year 100% tax payment. But at that point in time, those lots would sell for $80,000 to recover the cost of everything, versus making a TIF district, making them pay for the infrastructure. It's going to buy that down to about $40,000 to $50,000.
Yeah, if you look at it from a tax abatement standpoint, if someone comes in here, buys an $80,000 lot, builds a home on there, so now their home is say $300,000 or $320,000. Well, and with tax abatement, say it's 100% for 5 years, they're saving $3,000, $4,000 a year for 5 years. Or they can have initial savings of, instead of having a $320,000 house, they have a $280,000, $260,000, $70,000 house. And so they have that initial kind of buy down, and then their mortgage rate is cheaper. So they're actually better off with having the TIF bond kind of up front versus tax abatement. And the city then gets the money kind of obviously at a quicker clip. Yeah, and
Well, this all sounds good. Now, what is the time frame?
Yep. So I would say, from our perspective, if you guys gave the go ahead, and I think tonight you're voting on kicking off bond council potentially, possibly. So let's say that gets approved, kick off bond council. We'd have to get a timeline from them. So we would need a development agreement, bond council kind of thumbs up on everything. If we had all that, we would start engineering design, and this is not it's a fairly small plat, and so we could probably have all that ready to go. When do you think we could probably, just from a turning dirt standpoint?
Yeah, we're going to be, by the time we get all of that approved, engineering ready to go, and set of construction drawings and something to go build, it's going to be probably the middle of the summer. But I still think we can have lots available early fall, so that builders could take over and start going vertical early fall. So I think we'd see action this year.
Yep.
So the market and the park thing would be early fall.
Yep. Either that, or we wait till next market to.
Yeah, in next market, we would have potentially a custom home or a spec home, 1 or 2 spec homes potentially in the spring to kind of kick things off.
Yep.
It would probably be better to have some product out there when the market's out.
When people are out there,
Are you guys working with the county and the Ames for the Ames one, or is it you working with the city there? Or?
We're working with the city. Yep. So there's no tip or anything there.
Where's that one at?
That's in North Ames. So if you know where the country club is on the north side, so we're kind of sandwiched in between the country club and Ada Hayden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions?
You're following essentially the preliminary plat that was approved for Doc Owens except that the lots are a little bit smaller, right?
Correct. Yep, and then there's a little bit of a change here. You know, I think we discussed this when we came in earlier, but maybe this road, something was different with this road alignment, but what we've done is propose it to just essentially head north from here. And then,
I think in the preliminary plat, this just looped around. I don't think there was a connection.
oh, maybe there was not.
Right.
Yeah, there was.
There was, okay.
There was,
You have a drawing here somewhere, but, yeah.
and then those were 100-foot lots.
Right. Well, since it's so close to the,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were-
Yeah, so it goes up.
I guess there wasn't one.
Yeah,
Cul-de-sac maybe.
Yeah.
But based on our last meeting, it seemed there was a desire to kind of at least tee this thing up to be able to be next in line, and so we included that little extension to the north.
So that's a low spot right there on the northwest.
Yeah, right
side.
here.
Yeah. And I think there is, I think, I don't know if it was Dr. Owens that, I don't know if he had a master plan for this whole thing, but,
Yes, we did.
yeah.
And I believe they can go down, our ordinance says they can go down to what, 65
Yeah.
wide lots, so they're still exceeding that at 75, 72.
So, yeah, so we got 72s all on the north side, and then a couple of 72s and then 75 here.
No, I think it's close enough to the docket plat that, we should be able to accept preliminary and final at the same time, shorten up the review time at, planning and zoning. So, I would certainly, move that, they be allowed to submit preliminary and final, to P and Z when they get to that point.
Was that your action item for this? Your motion for this
Yeah.
action item? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a motion by Steve. There's a second.
Second.
Ooh, second by Megan, discussion. Hearing none, Megan,
Yes.
Doug, Ken,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Alex.
Yes.
Perfect. Anything else for these fellas?
Just thank you.
No, ball's back in your court. Well, with your, bonding attorney.
Perfect.
Were there two items on this?
Yeah, so that,
We're going to do the bonding attorney now.
item 6C, discussion authorization for the mayor to sign 2021 urban renewal action and housing tip agreement. So that should be in your packets. And this is going to be by Dorsey. See if I can't find that.
Move approval that the mayor, sign the bond council agreement.
Moved by Steve.
Second.
We'll give it to Alex. Gosh. Discussion.
The second, or the second to last paragraph says, while we advise, while we will advise you, the circumstances warrant, on legal requirements for the verification of the TIF debt obligations in the future, we will not be responsible, for anything out of those steps, assisting you with, related ministerial acts or providing you with, reminders of deadlines on your need to certify. What does that paragraph mean? What are we not getting? And that may just be something that, you'll have to ask them, when you sign it and send it to them and then report back.
Put that in.
Yeah, because it's,
It's a disclaimer, but what are they disclaiming?
yeah,
So we will make sure to.
I think when you have to certify your debt each year, I think that's what they're
that's what they're
saying.
talking about.
Is
So
with TIF.
they're gonna be helping us with everything that we need to do to establish the TIF district. And then beyond that, as it goes on year after year after year, they're not involved in that. Is that what you think, Deb?
That's what I'm thinking, because we have a deadline each year to certify TIF debt.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call. Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
Megan?
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in.
Ready to see some dirt. It's been a long
Yes.
5
Get
years.
it going.
Yeah, we're excited.
Awesome. Thank you. See you again.
All right, then we're gonna move to departmental reports. Sheriff is not here. Did they give us a report at all?
No.
No, okay. Anybody have anything for the sheriff?
We got a lot of sheriffs in town today chasing cows.
Yes.
Rodeo.
Just one cow.
Really? How did I miss that?
What did we miss?
I don't know.
They shot a cow out north of town.
Got out of
Or
Walker and
east of town.
a half mile east of town.
Oh my goodness.
Fire report. Oh, this one's not in there. They had 5 calls for 27 people. No injuries or accidents, no maintenance. They have started to get firefighters COVID vaccine shots. No future plans, and the city doesn't need to do anything for them at this time. Is there anything that needs to be relayed to Tony about fire department?
No.
All right. Moving on to EMS report.
They say that there were 13 pages. 4 were responded to by Maxwell, 6 or 8 were responded by Cambridge. So nobody responded to one?
Correct.
They had 4 in attendance for the monthly meeting and training. They did the truck checks. Monthly CQI has been completed. Can you remind me what CQI is?
It's the quality control that we do with Story County.
Perfect. Vehicle maintenance, none. Nothing for city council. Is there anything that needs to be relayed to Tanya and Nancy?
We have one person that we need to approve,
Yes.
and we also have one person who's going off.
Yes.
And the sentence at the last paragraph says, unfortunately, due to department politics, this is no longer a passion I wish to pursue. And what department politics is going on?
Well, I wasn't real sure, so I had the chief reach out to Shelby. Shelby said it was because we had a conversation about Shelby not being chief, not doing what he was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Shelby and Casey weren't there. And the entire department had a conversation about lack of leadership, disappointment in Shelby. And then after the meeting, 2 of the members got a hold of Casey and Shelby and told them about the conversation. That was the politics. There wasn't anything said that wouldn't have been said if they'd have been there. They just
Not
weren't
an
there.
ongoing problem,
No.
it was an incident.
It was just a one meeting that.
Okay.
Any other discussion on that before we approve Rex
Got
Shoemaker?
anybody in school? Or-
Well, we had somebody who started in January and then she contacted us and said, well, I'm moving. So we all have to go after her for tuition. This guy you're going to approve is planning to go in May. And just so everybody knows, we have 2 members right now with COVID. Tanya, the chief, is down with COVID. And so is Susie. So just FYI.
Is the city gonna have to do anything to go after that member for tuition fees?
I don't know because I don't know what Tanya has agreed to with her. Tanya was supposed to get a hold of her and see if we could get her to agree to make payments on the money. According to this agreement she signed, she has up to a year to pay back.
Okay.
So I don't know until Tanya's well. She's been pretty sick, so I don't know until she's well what's going on really.
Did, Tanya and Susie, get the COVID as part of, going out on calls
No.
or,
Neither one of them.
okay? And contacts elsewhere.
Rex Shoemaker's he a new resident?
He's been here, he said, about a year. He lives out east of town.
Okay.
What Page's house, didn't he?
I think it's across the street from Page's.
So Schwab's. Okay.
Out on Myers. Web court.
The web,
Or web
the Dvorak's live at the end of that
Yeah.
cul-de-sac, yeah.
Did he say how he heard?
He saw it on Facebook.
Oh,
That's
okay.
awesome.
Something he's been thinking about. I think he's interested in joining the fire department too. He actually is interested in pursuing a career.
Okay.
In firefighting and EMT.
Move approval of, Rex Shoemaker being added to the EMS.
Motion by Steve, second by Alex.
You're getting all
Discussion.
quick. You're getting quick.
Hearing none. Ken.
He said he wanted to
Steve.
go home. Yes.
Alex.
Yes.
Megan.
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Anything else for me, guys?
No, thank you very much.
No, thank you for being here.
Thanks. Moving on to the library reports.
I don't have one.
Nothing to send it. So Dawn?
Take another 1,000 off the
That's what I'm
There
thinking.
you go.
I'm like, this one
Another
gets
one
silly.
twelfth out of their budget.
Did the ambulance?
Public Works, that should be in your packet as well.
Okay.
We don't have it.
Tony says the new truck should be done and able to be picked up any day.
Not for nothing.
I know they got that in,
but
and then they sent it, as soon as they got it, they sent it to Hawkeye,
I just wanted more,
probably. I
Okay,
think
so there's
somebody
somebody.
dumped that on.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
and I didn't know him. So
Parks,
maybe-
the material for the Freedom Rock shelter is here. Water, they pumped 1.5 million gallons, sold
All right.
1.1
Thank
million
you.
gallons, repaired water main break at
Good.
Main and
Someone-
Broad Street. Sewer pumped 1.6 million gallons. Work should be taken back up out at the lagoon. We'll get a price from Todd to run 8-inch water line out to the lagoons as per Doug. Other projects going on right now, lagoon upgrade, getting stump grinder and removing all stumps from storm, and getting new truck completed. Anything for Tony for Public Works?
Yeah, at the corner of Macomb and South Street, there's the signs laying on the ground into the path of the street. I don't know if that's city
That is city.
or county, so
100% city.
anyway, it needs to be put up and repaired.
What's, like, it's just,
T.
okay, gotcha.
What kind of
The sign is on
sign
the
is it?
east side of the road.
Fine.
It's in Macomb's road or ditch.
If it says South Street, it's definitely city.
Yeah, but is it the street sign or is it the T?
It's
The
the
arrow.
T, it's the arrow.
Yeah.
It's the
The
arrow that
intersection.
said dead end.
Yeah, that one I think went down during the ratio because the
It
sign
did,
guy,
it
the county called me.
started that way now,
Yeah.
and last week it's just went,
Completely flat.
and it's kind of sticking out in the road.
I have something too, just general, but, can we at least get some fill or something in the potholes on Baldwin?
I did notice there was one
Oh
north of
my
Fifth Street.
good
that-
lord,
Yeah.
like somebody's gonna lose a car in it, it's getting bad.
Just put a sign up that says drive at your own risk.
Well, you know what's funny is on my way home, I know exactly where they are, so I'm like, pew, 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 I'm like Mario Kart. But it looked like, seriously, there was somebody's shock. Like, there was this big, it looked like a shock off of a truck, and I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody actually lost
Oh,
their
that's
shock.
Phil.
No, it's sitting right on the outside, like, edge of
Get
the,
out, push it.
I had to
Somebody's out
giggle.
Town put up a mannequin with a fishing pole on the gravel road.
Really?
Didn't it really?
Mhm.
That's fun.
The materials for the Freedom Rock shelter is here. There was, it's down by the Freedom Rock on the grass, which is just fine. But then they should also have delivered plans, and anchors, and they were supposed to come to City Hall. Did they?
Yeah, he came and got the box, so he has it down there.
Okay,
Or there was a box with anchors and stuff. I don't know if it had plans in it or not.
okay, talk to Tony and make sure that the plans were there.
So I don't know if it, I see there was a complaint about the gravel back there, so I don't know if that's something that,
Where? What?
It's under city clerk.
Center City Clerk.
Oh.
I just
The,
didn't know if probably,
the other thing that I had, they reached out to me about the backstops since ball is starting up in April, I think. So they were wanting to know about lime and the backstops. Evidently, we approved it last year to have to put lime down, and then the derecho hit, so we didn't put anything down last year.
We're the one putting lime down in August.
Yeah, cause the ratio was in August, I don't know.
Did we ever make a decision on the fence, having a company come in and,
I don't remember if we did or not.
I don't either.
The cable
No.
on the fence?
Well,
no.
the chain link
No,
fence.
Oh,
the,
chain
Fence around the
that
wall.
has to be
I-
replaced. I thought we did.
I thought that one was approved.
I thought so
Okay.
too.
No, you guys sent it over to the Parks group for
That's
approval.
right, for their.
And they never approved it, so I'm not sure where it went.
Did they know they had to approve it?
I don't think so. We thought that they approved it, that we approved it.
I thought they thought.
No, I'm positive that the Parks group thought we, as council, had already approved it. Because I was there, and I'm pretty sure I thought that we had approved it.
Would you, Deb, would you add it to, the, budget approval meeting? That we approve the bid on the, fence for the backstop?
Was that just for there, or was it also for the soccer fields, the field there? Do you remember?
That was also for the backstop and
Okay,
The-
it was for both.
for both.
Okay.
But we have two different bids from that same store, for one for down there and one for up there.
And the one for the bike trail is a different one.
That was part of the one for the Legion.
So, okay, yeah, would you put those on the meeting we'll have in a couple weeks?
Yep.
Thank you.
And then they wanted to know if we plan on putting rock down on the Legion Field driveway to the baseball field. It's pretty messy and vehicles are just tearing it up.
Is there practice going on now?
Is there? Yeah, I don't think till April.
What did you
Not for
say?
little kids.
The rock
High school pitching's
on
already started.
the Legion Field driveway.
I'm assuming that comes off of to the north, right?
No,
Rock?
From
to
the
the
west.
east.
Legion Field driveway, right straight down.
Miner's old house down there.
Oh, yeah. I got my directions.
On the south side of the backstop, the extension of Broad.
Mhm.
And what is being requested?
They're saying that the rock is getting pretty messy and vehicles are tearing all that rock up and out.
Tell them to quit driving down there until it dries up. That's what Tony tells me.
They're also wanting to get a new lock for the shed. They're looking to get a fancy lock where everyone can have codes for the door. Code can be reset when needed. Would eliminate the key problem and allow our coaches to access the shed for practices. And then
What shed is this?
the concession stand down there.
Concession stand, bathroom shed.
And they said we would pay for the lock.
As in, they would pay for it?
Yes.
Or, okay.
What do other towns do? Because I feel like if this is all rec stuff, right? Am I out of line? I'm saying
Well, I don't know. The rock I don't believe is wrecked. I
Right.
mean, it is our park. The problem is, I mean, we can put all the rock down there we want,
Mhm.
but if kids are still going down there
I'm tearing it up.
and tearing it up when it's wet like this, it's just gonna get blown all over the place.
And it floods down there, so we don't have. Well,
It, it is a, park road, and so we should be able to use, road use tax funds, to have, rock hauled in down there. Two and a quarter inch screen with fines, and
I don't know if Marietta has 2 1/4. They have 1 inch, 1.5 inch, clean roadstone, and 3 inch. I've not seen or heard of the mine having.
that would be huge.
Yeah, too big.
Okay,
I would maybe have Tony go down and look at it. If there's no base in there,
I'm good.
if it's that muddy, then you might be able to get away with doing a low to 3 inch and then back it in with 1.5 inch roadstone. Give it something bigger for a solid base and then
No,
smooth it off.
no.
Could we even close it for a time period?
That's what I wondered.
Nobody should be driving
They
down
shouldn't
there.
be down there, what do we
do we
do?
still have a gate down there? Yeah, we used to have a gate.
You know, I walked
Yep.
past it all
There
the time.
was a gate. Right at,
I'm not saying
the
not to
alley
gravel
A
it,
at
little
Broad.
wall. I can picture the little wall, but I don't remember seeing a gate.
There used to be a gate.
Okay.
That's been many years ago.
And if there isn't a gate, then,
We can just
use
cable
a
it.
cable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cable it or rope it even.
Or, I mean, a gate's
I think
$120.
with a rope, the kids will just cut it. Cable's hard to cut.
Cable, somebody's gonna ride through with their bike, I'm afraid, not see the darn
Yeah.
thing, and get somebody
Yeah.
hurt.
Hang some reflectors on
We'd
it.
have to do
That's
that,
true.
yeah.
And a sign that says
Just a
temporarily.
reflector or two on it, yeah.
Park
Closed.
closed
Mhm.
to.
I would put parking closed.
And you
One
might
down
wanna
there
put a
and kick
cable
soccer ball.
across
can walk.
down here at First Street, because they drive from that road across the thing out between the,
Yeah, I've seen that they've been doing that.
it's that black pickup.
We've lost one of those wooden posts, and so now it's wide enough for a car to go through there.
I thought you meant like somebody hit it. I'm like, good. I hope it damaged their car. I'm so mean, but I get tired of it.
I think we got pulled out.
Okay.
So what I have, for Tony is, the T sign at Macomb and South Street, pop holes on Baldwin Street, rock for the park entrance, line for the fields, and do we need a gate or cable for the Legion field?
The longer you can wait to get any of the roadstone from the quarry, the better. It's gonna be frozen, it's gonna be chunky, and it's gonna be a pain in the butt.
Okay.
If you just call the quarry, 90% of those truck drivers can just crack their gate and back up and spread it.
Right.
To where if it's chunky, you can't. You gotta pile it in a pile, so.
I will put that here.
As steep as that is, that's gonna be a little bit of a challenge. To
Yeah, backing down it.
back down and dumping at the same time.
Yeah.
But they're
But if we're,
talented.
They're pretty good at it.
and the other thing too is would it be cheaper for us that when we rock that we can rock this?
I really have concerns about putting rock back there because where's the water gonna go? Putting rock back there raises it an inch or so, and right now we get water problems right up against the building. So
We'd almost need to dig it down a little and then
Grade it down.
grade it down, scrape off some of that, and then put something on it to not elevate it any higher, because there's not much slope from here out there anyway. And that's gonna take some good work to do it.
We do have an erosion company in town.
have a what?
Erosion company that does this type of stuff for erosion, diverts water.
Oh, yeah?
Out at Carpenter's old place.
I didn't know that.
TK erosion. You've got a dump truck too, and skid loaders and tractors and.
Well, let's have him come in and take a look at it.
Yeah.
If I was doing it, I would lower the alley, and then, shape the parking lot so that it drains back to the alley, but to lower the alley, you'd be lowering it about 6 inches. And then putting another couple inches of rock back on it, the alley's in bad shape. So it's not a simple project of just, let's put some more rock there.
You can only do that so often or so many times.
And I think we've done that.
It's been one too many probably already.
Anything else for Public Works?
I'm not sure that the council agreed to an 8-inch water line out to the lagoon.
What I asked Tony to do is get a price on it, just to see what it would cost.
Okay.
No commitment of any kind other than getting cost.
They're gonna be an estimate turned in, a bid.
Well, we need something in writing.
Needs to be in bid form.
A 8-inch versus a 2-inch. Because that's, I think,
What he originally had was a 2-inch.
and it just went to the new plant facility.
Tony did say the 8-inch would have to start back further to hit an 8-inch back, so it'd be a little longer distance.
Mhm.
I just wanted to get a number so we had it if we ever did anything. Big ballpark.
If we're talking about rock in the parks, does the park, I don't know what the driveways down there look like. If we're gonna have somebody come in and bring a load for this park,
What do the driveways look like?
yeah, do we need to,
You're talking
On the north
about
side?
Old Settlers Way.
yeah, that and then
That's another one that we absolutely have to dig down 4 inches,
okay,
because right now the road is a little bit higher than the cement slab for the shelter. We've been adding enough
okay,
that it's now higher, and so every rain that we get runs off onto that slab, and then it needs to be hosed off. And then it leaves water around it because you've hosed everything off. So
So how about we do this? Why don't we get a quote, 2 separate quotes from TK to do down there? Like, was it down there?
no, here,
Here,
Here.
and the park. Does that sound like a plan?
yeah,
do you have his contact info, you want me to get a hold of him, or
Sure.
I can do that?
So
You just want me to let you know when he's gonna meet and,
Probably not next week. I'll be in Arizona, not answering any phone calls.
That's what you think.
Yeah. Anything else, Public Works? All right. City Clerk, looks like FEMA is coming along. Parks and Open Spaces had a meeting. They're working on a 1-year plan and a 5-year plan. Budget should be ready for final changes. Steve has been a huge help with it. So thank you, Steve. They talked to Simple City, which is the software provided, about the cemetery application that they have. They told them, or Deb told them, that we would pass it on to the council. They're trying to push various modules. This was the only one I was interested in. We've already hit that. Complaints on the muddy lot in the back of City Hall / library. Few things Dee and Deb have thought that we needed for the City Hall remodel is new flooring, different lighting, better storage, both facing the public, and new paint. And I think, are we still thinking that it's probably gonna be cheapest to get one of those roll-off storage?
I contacted the guy at the State Center about a shipping container.
Yep.
And it's actually cheaper to get a 40-foot than it is a 20-foot. However, I don't know if they would be able to maneuver a 40-foot
Back there.
back here. So he's looking for a 20-foot container. I have not heard back from him yet. The 40-footers are running just shy of 3,000. I think it's like 28 or 2,900 delivered. So
That's not bad at all.
no, and you know, somebody might be able to get it jimmied in here, but you'd have to drive on the museum's grass and move the dumpster and all that. I don't know. I don't know if that'd be worth it.
Right.
So once I hear something from him, I'll send something out. I'll send it to you and you can disperse it.
Was there 40-foot on the north side next to the fire station that would not block the door?
The issue is getting it in here.
But if you're turning and placing against the north,
In between the alley and the building, or on the north side of the,
north side of this parking lot here.
oh, right here.
Yeah,
They're gonna be blocking an exit for,
that's why I was wondering if there was 40 foot
oh,
from that door
over.
up to the building here, so that it could be placed on that side, which would make the
Backing it in.
backing
over
it
here.
in. a little
You'd
bit.
still have to use a back or something to move it, because you're not gonna be able to get it straight, but that's something to look at. 40-footers are a dime a dozen. You can get those pretty much anytime. So,
And I think we talked the last time that as soon as July hit, we planned on doing construction. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. That the first bill would be in July sometime. So we might be able to start before then.
I would suggest that we probably have that storage container put in place before we start anything that we.
I would wait anyway until it dries up.
That's it. You guys don't have any big requests on here.
They already got a new TV.
That's
Yeah, we got a new TV.
true. You have to pin around it though. We're not taking it off.
Yeah, they were gonna get some more bigger guys to get it down.
Deb did a great job helping.
You should have seen me try to put it up myself. And I was like, oh, this is way too long and too heavy. And Deb's like, you want some help? Yeah. What I was worried about is I drilled through the wall and I was like, doesn't seem like concrete. I mean, it's pretty thick. It's probably about that thick behind there. But I was like, I don't know, let's just figure it out. So I put the anchors in, pulled on the bracket, hung myself off the bracket just fine. I was like, oh, this will be fine. So it hasn't fallen yet, so.
Warranty's up in another day, isn't it?
Well, probably.
I don't know if they warranty the installation
Right,
privately.
exactly,
So.
yeah.
The treasurer's report, we've talked about the TIF district fund, which has 119,000, and the Owen TIF district that is negative 3,000. Those are things that Dorothy's going to be looking at.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
That was part of the conversation, Henderson, right?
Yep.
Okay.
She is going to check to see, because, what did she say? Yeah, that was so long ago. She says she's not 100% sure, but she thinks that she can find a loophole to make sure that we.
Because that $100,000 will go a long way against our 600,000.
Yep. Yep. Anything else for city clerk?
So, do we use Simple City now?
Yes, that's our main.
I would like to get a demonstration of the module that Deb is interested in. the $1,900 that they show, I understand would go toward installing the software on our computer and taking our data and getting it in. And then after that, we would have an additional $360 a year, but what it would do is give you a database that where you'd be able to keep track of things a lot better than what we're doing now. So I certainly think it's a good idea
What do you
to look
use
at it.
now?
Piece of
A
paper.
book?
A book.
Paper, pencil,
Just like they
Pencil,
did
yeah.
back in
A book and a
1885.
probe?
Probe.
Nothing here, move on.
the probe isn't gonna go away because there are problems in the records. And so you sell somebody a lot, you still gotta go out
And make sure.
and make sure there ain't nothing there.
Like rocks, right?
It only hurts for a little bit.
No, that's just, no, it's creepy.
It's happened. I mean, I've sold some and then somebody's came up and with an actual invoice saying, you've sold this one to me, we need to do something.
Wow.
And it's just because it's changed hands so many times and I'm trying to keep track of, and these are records that were before me.
Mhm.
There hasn't been a problem except that one person that said, ouch.
Yeah. So if we get a demonstration, Deb can let us know, and anybody interested can show up. Right, Deb?
Yes.
Anything else for Deb?
Deb, I've asked you this already, but I don't remember. The animal control, when we had that $100 fee, does City Falls or maybe somebody sitting there, do we bill that through to the owner of the animal if they reclaim it?
I think the owner has to pay it from to the shelter, don't they, to get the
No.
animals back?
Not what Deb told me today.
That is their fee to us because it was after hours.
So it's only after hours,
Yeah.
right? They get charged that?
Well, if they come during hours, there's a charge too, though, isn't there? There isn't. Okay.
All right.
I don't know why the city hasn't put the bill for somebody's dog.
You wanna go back a couple?
I don't know, I had a couple
pages?
runs in my yard the other day.
We missed, under,
But
Public
cover our
Works.
100 either.
a, memorandum from Snyder.
Where at?
It's after the.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that the engineer report though?
Yeah, that's engineer report.
Mhm.
So let me scroll down. All right, Wes, you're on.
Goes to
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, I will just hit the high points, the things that aren't on the agenda elsewhere. It's a shorter list that way. Wastewater treatment plant, they've been making fantastic progress here lately despite the cold and the snow. So they're about done with all the piping, underground piping, and I think Tony's report maybe has some of this too, but they're looking to move into working on the lagoons and lagoon covers coming up soon here. We do have one change order we'll talk about on the agenda item later. The biggest thing there is to make sure that we're continuing to move, make progress on the revenue portion of the bond or the SRF loan. We have the GO part was completed, and we've been using that, have been able to use that to pay the contractor, but that was only for $1.5 million, and we will probably run out of that in the next month or two as the progress progresses, and they're making good progress, which is a double-edged sword. So just make sure that, and I can do what I can on my end too, to make sure that we keep moving on the revenue portion of that, so that we continue to pay the contractor, and we don't get in the bind that we were to begin with too. The Fish Creek storm sewer improvements, we talked that last month a little bit about this, putting that up. We have not been able to identify any major significant additional value added on that one. But we did talk about whether the road use tax fund could be used for that. It does sound promising, but a lot of advice I got was to make sure that you check with your council on that one, just to make sure that everybody's aware and that you get a confirmation that the storm sewer outlet could be included with the Baldwin Street project and used with the use the road use tax funds for that one. So sounds promising. Might be a good way to get that one finally funded. And that's really the gist of. I think that's all that I have, except for things that are on the agenda elsewhere. If you guys didn't have any questions.
Any questions for Wes? Wes, did you catch our discussion with ATI Group?
I caught some of it. Right in the middle is where the phone conferencing cut out. So I did catch some of it. And I think, sounds like it's promising. It sounds like things that I've seen done elsewhere too. So
okay, cool. Anything else for engineer?
When are we doing the ADA? When does that start?
When does the ADA ramp start?
The contract, we approved the contract last month, right?
Yes.
Okay. So really it's going to be up to the contractor when he can get his schedule out here. I have not had conversations with him, but I can head that up if you'd like me to and coordinate that on that end.
No, we need it. I was just curious.
But my guess is he's waiting for nicer weather.
Perfect. Perfect. We can hold off.
It's 60 on
Yeah.
Supposed to be
65
65,
next Monday.
that's the time that I plan to go. All right, moving on, business item 6A, discussion action on Baldwin Street Rehabilitation Project Supplemental Agreement. In front of you, you have the exhibit for Snyder and Associates. Wes, take it away.
Yeah, so I think we discussed this a little bit last month maybe, but basically what this is the original agreement for the Baldwin Street reconstruction was more just an overlay where we were going to use aerial photos and LiDAR topo, which is not as accurate to complete those plans, which is fine for an overlay project because you're not changing the road grades. What we're looking to do now with reconstruction based on the condition of the road, which it sounds like is not improving based on Megan's comments, is to reconstruct, which once we reconstruct, we lose all the existing grades and we're going to put it back new, which means that grades are important and we want to make sure that we have the right tie-ins for, I don't know if we have any much sidewalk along there, but curbs, making sure things drain, side streets, driveways, things like that. So that really takes the topo survey to start with. So that's really the gist of this. And also there's a little bit more design work involved with that. We have what they call street models. Basically they can, it's actually much more efficient now than it used to be, but they use a software program to run the design cross section of the road through the project, and it kicks out pretty accurate, very accurate limits, and so we know if we need to get easement, or hopefully if we don't need to get easement, just make sure that we can stay within the right of way and everything ties off well. So that's a little bit more work than an overlay would take. So that's what this is. On the schedule side of that, we've got survey crews that are available to start ASAP, which will move this project along quickly. And I've got some schedule dates here. If this all looks good to you guys, then I can get you more concrete. But if we're good to go on this one, we can probably have stuff ready to go as soon as you want it, by as early as June. So that's what this is. And open any questions. So I do understand this is additional over what was originally planned.
So we're looking at 7,500 for the topographic survey.
Yeah.
There you go. And another 75 for engineering services, correct? For a total of 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's right. I don't recall what it was. It's been so long since I looked at it, and I don't have it here at home in front of me. But
That's what we're looking at.
Perfect.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions about this for Wes?
I move approval of the, supplemental agreement and the $15,000 be taken out of, project fund account.
Project fund. Okay, that's a motion made by Steve,
Sorry.
second by Ken. Discussion. Hearing none. Ken,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes,
Alex,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Doug.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, item 6B, discussion action on Betterment Award. In front of you, you should have the nominations for the Betterment Award for 2020.
move that Market in the Park be given the Betterment Award, but we need a little bit better write-up.
That was probably my bad, because I'm the one that nominated them. I just-
That's all you did.
Yeah.
That's all he did.
So that's a motion made by Steve.
My mom
Second.
did text me to nominate somebody, but
Oh.
she didn't turn it in formally, so I don't know
I,
how that works.
well, you can certainly bring them up. I'd still be supporting Market in the Park. I think they did an excellent job last year in, providing a positive environment, for the city, which is what the Betterment is all about. So,
While bringing in thousands of people this year.
which may or may not be a positive.
Depending on who you are.
Well, mom's nomination is Kathy Smith. She does a lot of stuff for the town without recognition, doesn't want it. So she caught her trimming bushes all up and down Main Street the other day, and just because they needed it. So
Does your motion still stand?
Yes.
So motion made by Steve to give the Betterment Award for 2020 to Market in the Park. Is there a second?
I say.
Second by Ken. Discussion.
Will we put the gals' names on it too, or, it's pretty vague? Maybe
Yeah,
20 years.
the two leaders for.
Cassidy and Laura.
Yeah.
We can do that.
I think that's gonna be
That
meaningful.
would be
down
part
the
of the write-up.
Okay. I missed that part.
Yeah, we're gonna get a really nice write-up here pretty soon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Give me 5 minutes. Hold on just a second.
Okay, question.
Yep.
Plaques, we always give the winner a plaque.
Uh-huh.
Are we gonna give one to Cassie, one to Lauren then?
Yeah,
Okay, with their
Sure.
names on it.
yes,
And Mark.
And we still need to
Okay,
give
just wanted to make,
Yeah, but
it
wasn't
clear.
there like three
three of
last
them or
year?
something.
There
I
was
think we
three
only had
last year.
no, there was only two.
No,
Two.
two.
It was Nancy and is it Ronnie?
Ronnie.
Roman? Wasn't it Roman?
Uh-uh.
I think it was
Oh.
Ronnie. For putting on the
Ronnie.
garbage cans back.
Kind of put the
Okay.
garbage cans.
Maybe.
So maybe we can do that next meeting.
What?
Present the old ones
And the new?
and the new ones.
And the new.
Let me see if I can get the plaques done.
Perfect. Perfect.
you know,
Uh,
when you get the plaques done, then put it on the following,
Meeting.
meeting.
Okay,
There we go. Now we're on to roll call. So Steve,
Yes,
Alex,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Yes. Item 6E, discussion action of deduct change order for valve substitution. Somebody better approve that right now. We can, is it a deduct, meaning that we're saving money?
yes,
3,800, I move it.
Moved by Steve. Second by Alex. Discussion.
I thought it was moved by
It
Doug.
was moved by
Oh,
Doug.
sorry,
By
Doug.
Doug.
Oh, wait a
That's
second.
okay.
That was
He's been
quite
doing it long,
the
I
voice
know.
throw there.
It's almost an automatic.
Yeah.
You beat me to it. I do have a question.
Yes.
Is Wes still on the phone?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. What is the loss in functionality in going from a plug valve to a gate valve? Because the original plan was a plug valve, which is more expensive, but was it put in there for some particular benefit?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. And when the proposal first came across my desk, that was the exact question I asked our engineer as well, to make sure that we're not getting a substandard product. So the difference is plug valves are much more more resilient to any kind of debris, solids, things like that. Gate valves are still work with that kind of thing, with a flow that has debris in it, but sometimes can cause hang-ups at times. So plug valve or gate valves tend to be more for clean water. Plug valves we tend to use more for wastewater applications. So on this one, the plug valves is kind of a belt and suspenders type application where it's used in this particular instance because the valves that we're talking about are on the effluent side of the wastewater treatment plant. They're not on the influent side, which would be have a lot of solids and dirty water, so to speak. These are around the polishing reactor and then down near the UV disinfection, which by the time we get to the UV disinfection for sure, if we don't have clean water, the UV doesn't work at all. So it is pretty much clean water. Again, like I said, we use plug valves just kind of as a default because they are a little bit more resilient if something were to get in there. The issue we had with this case is that the plug valves had a long lead time and were becoming the critical path for getting all the piping work done. So that long lead time was causing problems with the schedule and keeping the contractor moving. So part of the DDOT cost savings is the cost of the valve, and part of it is his savings just to keep moving. So
Yeah, and the fact that you can keep moving is good. The fact that it costs less is good. I just didn't know if Tony was going to have any additional headaches with the change, and it doesn't. Since it's on the effluent side, it doesn't sound like it would be very probable.
no, not really. I mean, maybe 15, 20 years, there's a chance, maybe. But really, it's not a significant chance even at that. And the biggest ones that might have the issue are actually on the upstream side of the polishing reactor and actually don't even get used all that often unless we take the polishing reactor offline. So I confirmed that with the engineers. Is this going to be an issue? And he said, well, there's always a chance, but in reality, not really.
Okay.
So we felt it was a safe and reasonable change to recommend. Otherwise, we wouldn't have. So that's where we're at.
Perfect. Is there any more discussion on item 6E? Hearing none, roll call. Alex?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Moving on, item 6F, discussion action on cleanup day.
Do you guys want to have one this year?
I personally think that that would be a good idea, especially with the derecho that hit this past year. There's probably a lot of junk that needs to be.
Yep.
cleaned up.
May 1st. It's first Saturday.
I thought it was the 4th.
That's wrong.
Fourth
That's
was-
the sample.
A couple years
Gotcha.
ago.
Anybody have any issues with May 1st?
Nope. Let's do it.
May Day.
Do you want to
Bring your
continue to
flowers.
Bring
charge
us
for
flowers.
TVs, monitors, appliances?
What was that?
Does anybody see any changes that we feel that we should put on this?
Well, sofas were the biggie the last time, weren't they?
Yeah, brown ones or green ones.
Brown sofas.
Yeah.
So furniture,
It'll crunch up. I think it's okay. We've got the appliances and grills and TVs charged.
And 11:30,
8 to 11:30?
or do we want to do 8 to 11?
8 to 11.
start at 6 and end at 9.
8 to 11 a.m.,
8 to 11.
On May 1st.
May 1st.
Ken, was that a motion that I just heard you made? I think it was.
Yes, it was.
Okay. A motion made by Ken to have citywide cleanup May 1st at 8 to 11 in the morning.
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Steve. Discussion. Hearing none. Megan?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Steve?
Yeah.
Alex?
Yes.
And you're all going to be there, right?
Mayor,
Yes.
Mayor, this is Wes. I just wanted to check and see if there's anything you needed me for further in the meeting, or if it'd be all right if I bowed out.
You may leave.
You're good to go.
Have a great
All
night.
right.
Thanks, Wes.
Thank you, Wes.
Yep.
Yeah, but take care.
So weird to have people.
Because I'll need one person to be in charge of the money.
The banker.
No, why do I always get stuck with the money part?
Well,
You're the
you can
banker.
do that, or you can throw stuff into the container.
No, this says right here that we're not doing that.
It never works
It
at all.
doesn't
They
work
show
out.
up and they sit in their vehicles. and you
Well,
have to
Yeah,
go.
they sit there.
Some will get out and help, but
But it slows things down if we don't help them.
Should we invite the Parks Department to come too?
It will be in the park.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, there's
Oh,
the
two.
park board,
I was gonna say, there's
When
two
does,
already here,
oh,
and
those are
already
on
gonna be
Sunday,
there. There's
huh?
only like 3 others.
Mark in Parks on Sunday, so.
We can just figure that out. On a weird day. I don't know. I don't even think, can I take money or is that segregation of duties issue since I also sign checks?
You can take the money. Because we'll give you a receipt book.
You used to be a banker too, so.
Never said I was a good banker.
Not anymore.
That's right.
we can figure that out later.
Yep.
True.
All right, item 6G, discussion and action on budget fiscal year 21-22. Do you have to read this or?
No,
Okay. So that's the introduction
That's
to
the
budget.
whole thing.
We're gonna be here for a while.
when I was mayor, I would always write up what our actions were in text, because lots of people can't read a budget.
For sure.
So,
Uh-huh.
I've gotta put some dollars per thousand in there. Deb wrote them in for me, and so now I can put them in. Of importance to the council is probably on page 3. Where we're talking about, community betterment transfers. At the last meeting, we were out of balance. And so we talked about, maybe looking at the sheriff's, budget as community betterment. After going through and, balancing all the transfers, we didn't need to do that. Didn't need that much money. So I did not, fund it through local option. The library at 23,000 is, similar to last year, and declaring the library as community betterment is a whole lot easier sell than declaring the sheriff as community betterment, because we are mandated to provide police protection. So, page 4, paying for half the cemetery mowing, out of community betterment. We could do a, less neat job. So paying half of the 22,000 certainly makes the community look better. City Hall improvements, we have $20,000 for City Hall improvements. And that will be the complete package. None of any of the local option sales tax money is transferred out until there is an expenditure. So if this is $20,000 for City Hall improvements, if we only spend 10, then only 10 gets transferred out. It's transferred out after the expenditure. And, this is important in case somebody asks you about it. Library trust, $5,000 into their trust account budgeting $5,000 to be transferred in the trust account. If there is, while we're doing our improvements, if there's something to do over there, such as the carpet or something else. But this would be something that would, by putting it into the trust, it would be something that the city council has to approve before it's expended. So, if they come up with something that convinces us it's worthwhile, this transfer, they can spend it and this transfer will happen. If not, it won't. Employee benefit expenditures, let's see, cemetery.
Planning and zoning.
City hall, library, planning and zoning, $1,000. Well, I was still $1,000 off. And so, or $800 off, something like that. And so I went to the budget and found something that I thought looked like community betterment for about $1,000. And that's planning and zoning. Again, if we don't spend it, it doesn't get transferred, it doesn't get spent. So, with those, I was able to get the budget balanced. We have about $55,000 under road use projects for the Baldwin Street project, and that leaves about $46,000 for street repairs. Trust accounts for EMS and fire are going to be used to pay for the third year of the radios. And this is part of where I got the transfers in and transfers out to all balance, which is why some of I didn't need so much money. Washington Township Trust has a write-up as to how it works. There's no big change there. Library Trust. Emergency levy. If we're shooting for $80,000 in that account and we get about $7,000 a year, it's going to take 11 years, but we can only do so much. With all of that, you have a page up there that shows in the second column of funds that we have a re-estimated fiscal year 2021. And Deb, did we re-estimate anything?
Not yet.
So these numbers are as correct as they can be right now, but they're going to change, right?
Right.
Okay. If you look at actual 2020 to budget 2022, we have a significant increase in taxes levied on property. And part of that is because of the GEO debt that we're taking on. So this would be what is published if the council says that the rest of the budget that's in there from this page on it meets the council's goals.
What, looking at the very last page of the actual budget document, the budget worksheet, the very last page of the expenditures.
So expenditure page 9 of 9?
Yep.
Okay.
I see 5 blanks that we needed information from Wes and Tiana
We got it.
Okay.
I just haven't eliminated that.
Okay.
I met with Wes and then I Zoomed with Tiana, and everything that is now in the sewer budget, starting on expenditure page 8 of 9 and 9 of 9, is as good as we can get today. The SRF loan has not been approved by the council because DNR is still playing around with it. They're still trying to figure out whether or not Tiana got approval a year ago to not have this excess cash in the sinking fund. And she got that okay from the SRF people. And now the bond counsel, who not only works for us, but also for SRF, is having some questions about whether or not it's a good idea. And so Tiana is going to go back to the SRF people and the bond council and try to get everybody on the same page because they aren't there yet. The worst case situation is we will end up with excess cash in the sinking fund. Our rates will be higher than what we had hoped, and they're already going to be higher than what I had hoped anyway. So this budget is good enough to take to public hearing. We won't spend any more than this.
So this is also an action item. So is there somebody that wants to motion to approve the budget as presented?
And this is approval to send to public hearing on what date, Deb?
It'll have to be the 22nd.
Okay, because of the timing and everything, right?
Yep.
So we will have a budget hearing 3 weeks from now on the 22nd. So moved.
Moved by Steve,
Second.
second by Megan. Discussion.
Oh, yes. And working through the things with Wes and Deb, one of the things that was Wes had in his plan was an additional $22,000 in salary and benefits for the person working at the wastewater treatment plant because there'll be additional testing, additional licensing. And I said, well, that's quite an increase in salary. And he said, no, it's not an increase in salary. It's an increase in the amount of time that the person's going to be spending down there. So instead of 50% sewer and 50% water, there's going to be more time spent on sewer. And we may want to have the public works assistant, when we get the person hired, be spending some of that time there rather than in the parks and roads. And so we may have to rebalance some of the time because the new plant will take more hours to run.
Sure. Yep. Any more discussion?
Question I have, we ran the garbage numbers and we've adopted a company. Our rates were $17, which had a reserve amount of about $2.90 per month per customer above that. what are we going to set the rates at, or is it time to even have that discussion? But we're gonna be losing about $12,000 that we're gonna wonder why some accounts are dropping faster, because this money now is going to other related expenses.
Yeah, now, once we approve the budget, then it would be appropriate to bring ordinance amendments forward to change the rate.
Okay.
And I have a draft of an ordinance for the sewer rate. I'll pass it around. It's going to go from $35.50 as a base charge to $55 a month. And you can see in red the changes that would be made to that ordinance. There would be no change in the water rates, but I may bring a change forward because our budget that Tiana does talks about fixed rates and variable rates. The fixed rate being everything that we have to pay regardless of whether we have any customers. And the variable rate is if you use 100 gallons, then it's going to cost you X number of dollars additional. Our ordinance does not refer to fixed rate and variable rate, and so I'm adding that into both of them, that language into both of them. And we're going, Deb,
Yes.
we're going to have to change our billing so that instead of just two lines, a line for sewer and a line for water, we're going to add two lines. There'll be a line sewer fixed and sewer variable, water fixed and water variable, because we have to track that in Tiana's model. So
That's going to cost more postage because already we're at our almost at our rate for our postcard. I mean, the mini lines that we could print on our postcard.
well, we had one other line that was on the postcard, and that was for the water tower. And that's off now. So we'll just have to look at it because we've got to be able on the system, even if we don't send it out on the postcard, on the system, it has to track fixed and variable for both sewer and water. So let's figure it out.
It might already do that.
No, we'll check it out.
Yeah, let me look. Fixed and rate and variable.
Back to your comment about the garbage. Were we checking with Aspen to see if they're going to honor the contract, or we just assume they were? Or is there a lawyer that had to be talked to, or?
The lawyer said that the contract, there was no termination clause, so the contract had to be honored.
Okay.
Through it.
And the question then was whether or not the bid that we got
Would be
is
good in November.
going to be good in November. Do we need to, which means that we need to talk to whoever the low bidder was it Pratt?
Gavin, Pratt.
And say we're going to approve this for first pickup in December. And you're willing to offer these terms under that condition? And if he says yes, then we need to bring the contract back, approve him as low bidder, sign the contract, and stipulating that it'd be a December pickup.
Haven't we already approved him as low bidder?
Yeah, we've already voted him.
So
of
they'll
getting
have him
paperwork
sign the
there.
contract.
No, we have not signed the contract.
We're waiting on him, right, to say either he can honor those prices.
Have
or
we
he can't.
asked him?
When I talked to him last, he said that he would have to probably revisit those prices in November. because who knows what's gonna happen between now and then with gas prices and everything else.
And he's got the elevator in for the gas prices already.
Fuel's already at $3 a gallon, so I know that was something that was talked about.
And the other thing, I think to answer your question is we can always get more revenue, right? So if we raise trash prices, we can always get more revenue. It's not like expenditures where if you spend more, then you have to do budget adjustment. I believe so. I think that's how that works, right, Steve?
We set the rates by ordinance, so we amend the ordinance and bump up the rates. And so yes, we can do that at any time.
But it would have no budgetary effect on our published budget.
Not now, no.
Right.
If we find out that he's bumped up the rates and we did not budget enough, then we bump up the revenues, we pay, and we go over on that line item and we find some other line item that we short.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had a motion, we had a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Steve?
Yes.
Alex? Yes. Megan?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Okay. Council and mayor reports. Steve?
Nothing.
Nothing. Alex?
I just want to make sure I've got it. So we are going to offer the contract to Gavin if he can honor the prices, but he said he can't honor the prices. So are we going to then open it back up to bid come September?
We would have to.
I think you have to.
Okay.
So my suggestion would be if you reach back out to him in October, and if he says there's no way that I can honor those prices, then we would do the bidding process over again.
Well,
That way.
Why don't we reach out to him now?
That's my thought.
And if he says that he cannot honor that contract, then we ask the second low bidder if they want to honor a contract that would be started in December. And if they don't, then we could always go to the third low, or we could at that point in time reject everybody and
Rebid.
and redo it.
That would make
But we
sense.
have to do a formal letter of rejection and a formal letter of acceptance that we should be doing that now.
That would.
Because it was a 3-year term anyway, right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of starting almost a year later. So he was anticipating futuristic numbers.
Yep.
I would hope.
So then Deb would need to contact Gavin again.
We need to send him a contract and see if he'll sign it.
I think you need to.
I don't have the number.
I mean, I'd have to look it up.
She'll text it to you.
I can't text. I don't get emails on my
Now, the
phone.
lawyer suggested we put a 60-day termination clause in there. Somebody needs to explain to me why that's a good idea from our end. It's a good idea from their end, but what does it benefit the city? Because if they violate the contract, we can drop them for violation. We don't need to just say, hey, I don't like the color of your trucks. What's the benefit? I don't follow.
If we get a lot of citizen complaints about poor service, we would have, there's not necessarily a proven violation of the contract. It's just dissatisfaction with the service. And so we would have no way to stop the contract. We'd continue until the end of the contract period. Right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. And yes, when you put in a termination clause, it opens it up for either side to terminate. Okay, I'm having trouble with, and I wouldn't put 30 days in there, I'd put like 90 days, because it takes that long just to get another person to come in.
Alex, anything else? Megan?
I do. So I know this house has been a house of discussion many of times, but the house on, I believe it's 7th and Metcalf, Youngs, I believe, are their names.
Bring it up.
I can do that now. Look at me.
Okay, so I know
Yeah,
there's
you're
been a lot of discussion about their junk in their yard and yada, yada, yada. I have noticed this winter that the vehicles on the north side of the property, so along their yard and in front of their garage, their detached garage, they have not moved all winter. And I believe there's at least 4, if not 5. And I know this because the snow is still 3 foot deep and there are no tracks whatsoever going in and out of that area. So I think they need a letter to get rid of some of the vehicles, because there's 4 or 5 there, but then there's another 4 to 5 in the front yard and in front of the house on the east side that are parked, and those do move, but I don't know how many people live there, but surely 9 people don't live in that house.
Is that the one with the school bus?
No.
There's school
I
bus? don't
wouldn't
think
bet
so.
on it.
Okay. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just telling you, there's no track coming in and out of that north side of the property.
Bedrooms in that house.
There's what?
Not enough bedrooms in that house.
I think some of the kids are.
This one, right?
Yes. So along 7th Street there, that is just vehicle after vehicle after vehicle after vehicle. I mean, they're just
So
boom, boom,
why did you
boom.
go to Google instead of Beacon?
I don't know.
I don't
Because
know.
you can
I
see
like
this on Google, and you can't see it on Beacon.
I don't know. Beacon.
Beacon.
Yeah, you
Go to-
can. You can go to maps.
Yeah, but
Oh,
Beacon
yeah,
only
you-
goes in so far.
It only
Oh.
goes in so
That's
far.
Well, it goes into,
I use maps all the time.
1 inch to 25 feet, so it's, I think the aerial is a lot more detailed on Beacon.
Well, let's just hold
Check
that up.
it out, right?
Like
got nothing better
this
to
would be a half-hour job.
I know. I should have just said, nope,
Might be
I don't
tomorrow
have
afternoon.
anything.
If everybody,
But I walk my dog past there every single morning. I'm like, they still have no tracks.
if everybody looks
it's
at their
been months.
packet, back under the clerk's report,
The newspaper clippings?
Yeah.
those
That's where-
newspaper clippings, one of them deals with,
don't park if it's not
parking
gravel
vehicles.
Accumulation of junk fit and failure to maintain.
Nope, next page,
Complete, that's one
down
here.
toward
You're really gonna make me
the
look at it?
bottom
one. I just wanna get my complaint.
limiting parking
Parking
in
in
yards.
yards.
Uh-oh.
Just exactly what you're talking about.
I know, but
Parking
see, now I
prohibited in
can't-
rear and
I
side
can't
yards, no
necessarily
person
say
shall
that, though,
park,
because, I mean,
store,
I
permit
have
the
4
parking or
vehicles at my
storage of
house.
vehicles in the
Yeah, but they-
confines.
3 sit out. They move every single day. I have 4 drivers.
That's a little bit different. than
And do
having-
you park them in the grass or?
Yes. I mean, because we have a double wide driveway, but then 2 of them, well, mine goes in the garage, I guess. At least 1 is in the grass right alongside of the driveway.
Grab a little spot there and then you're fine.
Well, we're actually probably gonna lay concrete there, but
Or
I'm just
that, or
saying,
concrete.
That's
I
even
have
better.
4. I have 4 in front of my house. In fact, if you
I
scroll
don't
up,
think
you
it's
can
the number
probably,
that's the issue. It's the fact that if you're not moving them and they sit there
I
and they
know.
sit there and they sit there, then
What do they got?
Especially on
1,
grass. that grows
2,
up in weeds.
or on
three,
blocks,
4,
on fault.
5.
That-
yeah, it's almost like they moved all
This was
those
right
out.
after we did a lot of enforcement. So, the vehicles out here aren't there. They
No, I think
are,
they're right there, and I think they just moved them out.
yeah,
They moved them out of
1,
the
2,
fenced in area.
at least four vehicles
There's
Yeah.
4 on the
moved
drive.
inside the fence so that they weren't out in the street. And now they may be
Moved
out
them
there,
back,
and
yeah.
there may be ones in here now too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
I just know from the garage all the way over to the corner, it's just boom,
Yep.
boom, boom, row after row after row.
And there's
And they're
one,
parked, yeah, they're
two,
parked
three,
vertically, not like horizontally.
4 vehicles there.
Mm-hmm.
Take pictures.
Jamie, are you clicked on that property?
Take pictures.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, so technically, is that the property line?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then none of them are even parked in the property. Because they all are outside of that turquoise line. I mean, they're right up onto
Which then
the,
would be the
Right.
72-hour rule. They have to move every 72 hours.
I have tickets in my truck. I'm writing a ticket for every single car they have.
And it'd be a violation of the snow ordinance if there's still snowbanks around them. That's a $25 ticket.
What ordinance number is that? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head.
Is this recent?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes, it
I
is
haven't
passed.
seen it.
February
So long.
18th, 2021.
we get them at the bank and I just throw them in the
Newspaper
break room.
clippings of Cambridge, new ordinances on garbage in yards and parking in the yards and
yeah, there's not a whole lot of difference between what we have and what they have on the first page, where it's talking about accumulation of
then
garbage,
building permits on like
and
shall expire
maintaining
1 year
structures.
after.
other than their list may be a little bit more detailed. And Deb felt that having a little bit more detail makes it so that people can't complain that we're picking on them because it's specific in the ordinance. So,
Right.
yeah, we can take a look at that and see if we want to add some more detail. The next page, our ordinance has a 1 year limit on a building permit. What this may do, although it's kind of hard to read, is say that if you don't
I can't read that.
if you don't begin with 180 days of issue half a year, that if there's no substantial beginning of construction, then the permit can be revoked. So it's only good for a year, but if you don't
No intent.
If
If
you
you
start
don't
7
get
months afterwards, then
something
moving.
substantially started within 6 months, then the city council can revoke the permit. Maybe that'd be worth doing. And then the other one, limiting the parking in yards. Now, this is a perfect example of people parking in yards. Yeah, I'd even say you can't park in the front yard, not just limit it to the side and the rear. Because all you have to do is put a driveway underneath the vehicle and you can park in any yard. That's what this ordinance says. So I don't see where it'd be a big problem for
One
anybody.
thing I see with that though is if they go up there and let's just say they rock from 7th Street down to the turquoise line and they just start lining cars up there.
Yeah, now they.
We have a
try to
house
turn
on
it
4th Street who essentially did that and has a trailer and a blade and steel all sitting on the parking.
Well, except they didn't really improve
It wasn't rocked.
the parking.
Yeah, they did. Because before Perry bought it, it was mud. He came in there and put a barrier around it and rocked it all.
Yeah, bring that one up.
Looked like
I don't
grass
know
to
what
me
they're
last
talking
year,
about.
but
There's
just
that.
up the road.
No, it's been,
Right across from the vet.
anything parked out in the right of way is different than what this says. This is parking on
Right there.
private property.
This one.
Right there, yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Okay,
Now, does the right of way, then the 72 hour without moving apply at that?
Can you go in closer on that one?
depends on how we write the ordinance.
Yes. But then you need to, make sure that you're doing it to everybody.
You have to be consistent, absolutely. So we got a lot of stuff sitting.
And my pickup was one of them.
So
I've
right
had my
there, did it,
pickup in my side yard, probably for 3 months. I go out and I shovel it out and everything.
You aren't rock there? I thought you had rock under it.
No, it's all grass underneath.
On your north side?
so
See, but
Alex,
that-
South side of
Oh.
my house
That.
on Douglas Drive.
so did
Two S's.
when I look at that, I see that line right above the cars there. Was that an old grass line then? Because like over
Yes.
there, is that Buddy's place?
To the right is Buddy's place.
Right,
So
is that grass and trees there? So did they put gravel there?
correct. When
Mhm.
for a long
So-
time that was nothing but grass, dirt and grass. People parked on it, and then Perry bought it, and he did a ton of improvements,
Right,
and that was one of them. They went in there and they rocked. You can kind of see where
From
the
the
grass
road
goes down
towards the side.
and all the way over, and so that became all rock parking.
This right here is rock.
Nah, I'm pretty sure it
That is
goes.
still grass.
I think that's an old picture. I think
No,
I think
that's
it's
the
rocked all the way
alley.
to the sidewalk and all the way
I
over.
see.
I could be wrong, but
What year does that say?
It doesn't have a year.
Oh, that screen. Gotta be careful.
well, it's got to be
Area
fairly recent because
2020.
his garage is up.
Okay,
So
so that's
Yeah,
last
that's
year.
right.
there might be a little bit of grass, but I'm well on the right side there. But that blade sitting on rock, that's a trailer full of steel.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's on grass. But
Either
it doesn't
way,
make any difference. What the point is that he has done some improvement for parking, and what we should, but he has not put in a curb. So what we have done elsewhere in town, when somebody goes and puts in a space for parking, whenever we come and seal coat, we seal coat over what they've done. So the next time we seal coat 4th Street, we would seal coat where those cars are parked.
that got seal coated last year, didn't it?
I think so. Then we should, and if it did, then we should have seal coated that parking area along with the parking area on the north side of the street, which has been used by the
Clinic.
clinic.
Which is muddier than heck.
It is.
Moving,
It
yeah.
is.
But that's traditionally what we've done elsewhere.
I thought we only did that if it was food.
No, because you go on Baldwin Street, down between 3rd and 4th, and there's no curb there, but they put timbers there to simulate a curb.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and in front of the Methodist church on Maxwell Street, there is no curb, but that has been seal coated, and the parking was improved, and we've seal coated it on the Methodist church side. The other side does have a curb. So it's a mixed bag. Your question was, can we do anything about it? Deb's answer is take some photos and we'll send out letters because it's a complaint. And, is that what we want to do?
Would this be a good time for just before the next meeting, all of us kind of drive around and take note and pictures and complaints that we feel need to be addressed? I know we did that last year and the year before.
Starting to get spring, might as well.
Well,
We're gonna
especially
send
with
out one
cleanup day
complaint.
set.
Gonna focus on vehicles or are we
Can you
going
make
to
sure to take
focus
pictures
on
of my
everything?
house during the daytime when we're all gone?
I guess,
I think there's still enough snow that things are covered up, so
yeah.
this would be, I think, if we do
Structure-wise
this
and
between now and the
vehicle.
next meeting, it would be mostly look for cars that haven't moved.
Anything else, Megan?
Yeah, but I forgot. It was too long.
Do I need to pull up Google Maps again? I can do
No.
that.
He's got it.
No.
Google or Beacon?
Douglas with one S. We got.
Well, that was my topic of discussion too. Now that we've set the cleanup day, it's time to make some people aware of looking at your backyard and your side yard. We've got lots of dilapidation and junk that's been sitting forever and ever and ever. Northeast corner of the football field, with across the street north there.
Oh, yeah.
2 boats,
That's
5
a dump.
vehicles,
Oh, okay.
and I like the people, but it's just plain junk. So we've got to get some things pushed, and again, we need if our police has to come down and write some tickets, but they need to be consistent. That's what my 2 thoughts are, and that's all I have there, but I piggyback on Megan's concern.
Are we having the sheriff's office do parking tickets or just the abandoned vehicle tickets?
So far, there's been abandoned vehicles, I think.
And we're doing all the parking.
Which would that fall under? Because I mean, they're parked, but they haven't moved. So would it be a parking violation or is
Well,
it an
it would be
abandoned
an
vehicle?
abandoned
You look at the
vehicle.
license plate, and if it isn't up to date,
The difference
then
between,
I consider it abandoned, or
But-
whatever, but.
now the difference between the two is a parking ticket is for vehicles that move and come back, but
The location
they're
where
parked
they're
facing the wrong direction, or they're parked blocking
Handicap
mailboxes, or, things like that. If, as Ken said, they don't have up-to-date licenses, or if they've just been sitting there for a long time, we
one
can
on blocks on
do,
Baldwin. Some little kid's gonna push that off of those bricks. It's not even blocks.
Yep.
And we're gonna say, why in the world did we let it sit there for 2 years?
Is there anybody even living in that house?
No.
I was gonna say,
I
I
think the
thought,
owner's in jail. I think we've tried sending letters and
Somebody
I
realized,
didn't think it was the owner. I thought property management or something owned the house and,
The guy actually owns it.
okay.
the house where Marcia Garrison used to live.
Mm.
Yeah.
That looks like it's abandoned now.
Somebody bought it.
You're kidding.
Do we need to send out a notice about the dilapidated building? I mean, somebody bought it, but are they gonna do anything with it?
And the one right east of it has a garage that the tree is growing up through, or a shed on the back.
Erickson.
Is that
The one on the
Erickson's?
corner?
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of a rusty brown color.
no, it's just-
The
So
whole
we're trying to
back
promote
porch
the
is
town,
falling
and
off.
then people come in and see this and say, oh, I don't know.
Megan.
The house up on Main Street.
north of Sharon Adams.
Yep.
The rafters.
What are we doing?
What's the, any update from the lawyer?
See if it's in the rafter.
We have to give them 100, and I don't remember days.
How long has it been? It seems like it's been like
They've got until almost June.
Going out of town east on the south side, Harrington's, he's got a house half torn down.
We sent him a letter last
Did
year.
he send something?
We did last year, and I've seen them out there. They go out there, him and his wife and his daughter, and they are doing it by hand.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's progress.
Let me, I'll it done with the weekend. Anything else, Doug or Megan?
After Ken goes, I have one good news thing.
I have one. The clinic is now moved. Today was their first day.
Mhm.
So Main Street's gonna probably be a little bit busier. You know, I have some parking there and stuff. But when they start doing a remodel last month, and I think it sat there for at least 3 weeks, that I know of, a white car had the hood popped. They went around it with snow, and it's completely full of garbage. I don't know whose car it is or what it is, but it sat there for at least 3 weeks, and then it got pulled out of the snow. The snow got moved a little bit, and I see it was back there again last week.
When you guys see stuff like that, shoot me a text and I'll,
But
figure
it
out.
needs to be moved probably, or one of their birth guys to.
Do we want to,
I had called
make
the
that
sheriff's office on that one.
Okay,
temporary no parking, so that they can do their construction work?
that would probably be a good idea.
Okay, that should be on the next agenda as a, resolution.
That's all I got.
I haven't gotten any confirmation, but I heard through the grapevine that the empty lot northeast of Mansfield's.
Yeah. Just down south of Dave's. Right?
Yep. That they are, some people, Newsburger is working on
Really?
getting that bought.
Where is it?
Yep.
Royals? By
Yeah,
Royals?
but northeast,
Kitty
that
corner.
empty lot,
Across the corner.
north of
Royals.
Hazel's.
Bullard's old property.
This one, it is
Oh, okay.
Rod and Metcalf.
Yeah.
Or Maxwell.
Yep, Rod and Maxwell.
Okay,
This one right here.
okay.
3 lots.
Big old lots.
Yeah.
Make a great fourplex, something. Threeplex, triple,
Only if it gets rezoned.
Yeah,
or a couple of duplexes.
I think he's wanting to do a
A couple
couple
of duplexes.
different buildings. I don't know how big though, so
Yeah, if he did
he'd have to get it rezoned, but that is good news. More.
2 duplexes, may fit on, cause it's 3 50-foot lots, so it's 150 foot. And you only have to have 65 foot wide, so he has enough room for 2 duplexes. But if he goes for a multifamily, we approved a multifamily, on Ashford and, what was that, Third?
Yeah, down by
Erickson's,
the football field.
approved a 4-plex there. I think we want to be really careful about doing, little tiny rezonings like that, because, that could, come back and, cause us problems, in the future. Called spot zoning issues. So, hopefully he's doing 2 duplexes. If he's gonna do a multifamily and wants to rezone, we're gonna have to, maybe look at a bigger rezoning area, if that's what's gonna be happening.
All I know is that he's finally got in contact with the owners and has
That's a lot of
been.
progress.
I gave the
Those
owners,
have been-
Yeah.
I gave up the owner's Kenny's name.
Did you?
Are
Did
they
planning
from
and
around
zoning,
here?
California, I think.
The
Arizona.
Bullard family was originally, but I don't think there's been a Bullard in this town for a long time.
Was there a house on that at one time?
Yeah.
Yes, it was like
When we were
the
kids.
first.
It was like,
It was one of the first houses in Maxwell.
Yep.
The house that, yep. It's a historic.
So were the
house.
Baldwins,
Mhm.
one of the first families.
well, I remember Royal's grandpa for years. He always mowed it. That's the only reason I ever knew anything about it.
As a determination, and just, was gonna go to planning and zoning, the old 50-foot wide lots in the original part of town, has anything been said about those, if they're going to be buildable and converted back to the original?
We had a resolution in front of the council that said this is how we're going to do things. Did that resolution pass?
Yes.
Then that's all that's
And
needed.
those, okay, it doesn't have to go any
So if
further.
he's interested in, if Kenny would be interested in building a lot by Faisal place, what does he have to do?
Just come and get a building permit.
Okay.
You know where else would be a good place? Is like Kitty Corner from Susie. There's that huge empty lot where
The red pickup
shoppers, yeah, and the
That's in the
the truck.
floodplain,
Floodplain.
so that gets to be a little bit of an issue.
build them up like New Orleans.
Or like Ames.
Ames has one?
Build them up. Oh, no, Ames brings dirt in.
Oh, no, I'm
They
saying,
just
no,
fill everything
I'm
up.
talking like on the
On-
like
on
pillars.
Put a garage
You
underneath.
could build
With
it
the
like
garage underneath the
Louisiana.
house, that's all you have
They
to
all
do.
have to be on 6-foot poles.
That's
usually.
right. That's what I'm saying. That'd be kind of fun. It could be a row house lane or something. We could rename the street.
Comes with a canoe too.
What do you got, Mayor?
I think.
Mr. Mayor?
Just to recap, I think majority of us are pretty excited about the ATI group development. I think we've made some pretty good strides, especially tonight. Congratulations to our Spartan girls basketball team. They made it
Yes.
One game per state.
pretty far this year.
And our first Spartan to go to
Wrestling.
state wrestling.
Congratulations
And
to
place.
Brody
Woohoo.
Sampson for making it to state.
Place
Yeah.
Nate, so. Other than that, market season's coming up, so that's pretty exciting. Finally starting to get some stuff worked out with that, and I think they're gonna be putting on an event here in April, a dodgeball tournament to raise money for, free and reduced lunches for kids, so.
Hit with a rubber ball right here.
That's what I asked, I said, are these gonna be real dodgeballs, or are these gonna be the foam ones that we had?
Or is it gonna be like the
You guys
movie
didn't have real
dodgeball and
ones?
throwing wrenches?
We didn't, no.
You didn't have real ones in PE? You didn't have the rubber red?
Yes, you did.
Official red,
That's
red.
a
We had those, but we weren't allowed to play with them.
I was.
Why?
We could, I mean,
Because they
that
were
was.
too
we
violent.
considered-
Oh, for the
We were considered, that was considered kickball for us.
We used them
Oh,
for
maybe that's
everything.
right.
Yeah.
We
Maybe
used them
that's
for
right.
everything.
We played those.
I move we
Foursquare,
adjourn.
dodgeball.
Second, no, you can't, we got consent agenda.
Oh,
I move the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, moved by Doug, second by Alex. Discussion. Hearing none. Steve?
yes,
Alex?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Doug? Ken?
Yep.
you don't have to ask for discussion on consent agenda items.
Perfect. Silly.
So,
Never will do it again.
Oh, cool.
Steve?
move we adjourn.
Moved by
Second.
Steve, second by Ken. Alex?
Yes.
Megan?
I don't know. They're leaving. They're not even giving us. I think yes.
You have to return
Doug.
those, but yes.
Ken?
Yeah.
Steve?
return what?
Okay.
This is what he's going here.
Never gets
You
bad.
guys want to dive in?
Is it almost 9 or 8?
Oh.
That's close to none.
I do that all the time.
We didn't do too bad though, I feel like.
No, we got through 50-some pages, pretty good.
Yeah. All right.
My Facebook message Tyler. He said yes, he's interested, so